Hi there, gang. Dr. J for, you got it, sales and business tips. Well, it's been a little while now since we've had Richard on from Com Marketing. He's been on holidays, living up the good life. He's hit the ground running in 2020. And I thought I'd invite him on today because the guru is going to be asked some questions about creating quality leads. There's no better person that I could ask about creating leads, but also creating the quality of leads. Com Marketing specialize in generating leads and also teaching people actually how to do it. So welcome, Richard. Thanks for joining us.
Welcome, Steve. Good to have everybody here in the SAC and good to be back in 2020.
Well, look, mate, 2020, it's a new decade. It's a fresh start. And it always comes back down to, well, what are we going to do differently? And we can create quality leads and we can create leads. And I wanted to actually talk to you a little bit about creating quality leads and the steps we need to do to create a lead that actually maybe is a hand up lead, a sales qualified lead or a marketing qualified lead, but how do we create a quality lead? And firstly, I'd like to get your definition on what you think a quality lead is.
Okay, well, I think a quality lead is somebody who, we look at, if I ask anybody in any industry, the best client they get in, it's usually a referral lead. And the reason why it's a referral lead is because their friend or associate dragged them to say, hey, this person's the best plumber, locksmith, trainer, gym, whatever. You need to try them out. So they feel better and they've gifted somebody the thing that they love and they've dragged them there. And so when people say to me, hey, Richard, they come to us, they want more leads. I say, what's your conversion rate at the moment? They say, well, my conversion rate's really good. I'm converting like 80, 90, 95%. And I go, well, where the leads come from? They go, referrals. Okay. So it's not like you've done a job. You've literally just turned up. Your client's done all the work for them. You just had to literally ask for their details and you're good to go. So if we look at what's a quality lead, Steve, I would see that a quality lead is probably not at that referral level. It's probably down maybe 2 notches where they haven't had a friend to drag them in, but they've definitely seen through digital and social media, they've seen the impact that maybe people they know or the avatar that they're following, similar people to them, have gotten some results. They've been seeing this awareness and brand enough. And it was enough to basically put their details in to take up some kind of offer at that point to take them to the next step. So I do believe that they've been following the brand. They like the brand. They know the brand. They're now taking that risky step of seeing if they can help them or not. I think that's what a quality lead is for me.
Right. Well, look, I will concur that referred lead or the pre-qualified referred lead is always the best one, and I would agree with that. And but sometimes businesses just flog that to death and actually almost can out their referral process. So going back that notch, I think was great. And I'd like to ask you a question about that. So we're going to go to market.
Yep.
What's the most important thing? What comes first? Is it your USPs? In other words, the features that differentiate you in the marketplace and make you different. In other words, that would link to your branding. Or when it comes down to lead gen, is it a strong offer?
Yeah.
What's more important?
Great question. I've got my opinion on this. There is a thing called blind marketing. Blind marketing basically means that you can put an offer out there, let's say a dollar for 100 days or $1 for 30 days, right? And the concept is that because the offer is so amazingly good, people opt in for the offer. And that's called blind marketing. Now, it doesn't matter if you've got a brand or no brand. It doesn't matter. They will opt in because it's an amazing offer. Now, this only works, I feel, depending on the services in the industry. But even though if people opt in for the offer, I'll just kind of like tell you what down the line is that you've got to have obviously an amazing product to keep them in the emotion of that. So that definitely has to be there. But you're also going to realize that you're going to have a high drop-off rate as well of clients. And depending on the service and what you have, it may or may not work. I feel that you'll get volume, but you'll also have volume that leave as well, because that's, because when you say, hey, I've got this product and it's expensive, and you paid $1, they're not qualified. So I personally, and what we teach in our Ninja program and I love making sure that you've got a strong USP, you've got a strong brand, and then you can have a strong offer versus a strong offer. And if that offer tanks or dies, you have nothing at all. So you're almost like running a business. It's like you're building a house on quicksand. And as soon as the flood comes, you're done. So it's too risky to go that way. I always go USPs, brand first.
Okay. Look, I'm on the same page here because if we actually can differentiate ourselves in the marketplace and we're different, and in the marketing, I believe it's still a lot of red brain marketing. The guys in SAC, they know what that is. They say, hey, get my free pair of shoes, win a holiday and all that stuff. And people opt in for the offer. And really, they don't really need the solution. And you're really not saying you're fixing anything. So having a brand that differentiates that you fix something is really important. But if the offer is too cheap, I think you hit the nail on the head. I remember many years ago when there's some companies out there that go to businesses and say, give us a super cheap offer. And people buy this stuff through this company. The people used to pop into that business, and they used to get all the good stuff. The people that were paying full whack were getting ticked off. But more importantly, the conversion upwards from a really cheap offer was virtually zero. I know in the United Kingdom, a lot of people in the fitness industry did that, and almost 100% of them, with the volume that came in, actually had to close their doors. So having an offer without actually having a USP and having it too cheap can be a real problem. So with that in mind, how important do you think it is to have a sales and closing strategy clear in your mind before you create the offer? So let's say we have a good offer, and I believe the offer should be great value, but it could be, more expensive than your product if you actually bought it completely. But it could be a smaller amount of money. But how important do you think it is to think with the end in mind and say, well, I'm going to get all these people on the offer. But how are we going to close them to actually become a client that actually gives us, an ROI?
I think, I take my personal opinion, like it's great to generate leads, but we can be in emotion and we keep having multiple conversations and doing it, but we don't just have those steps to close. Steve, when you came to our, sometimes you train our comm team, regularly, and, just when we have a bit of clarity of words we should use, scripting we should use, what happens instead of, thinking and trying to say, what am I going to say next, what am I going to do? You follow a simple formula, a sales process that you will put into place, and you would know then you can have a conversation, but you still got to tick off the points to get to the next point. Now, sometimes you're going to miss those things, but at the end of the day, it's smoother. It's like you need to know, it's like an actor. You need to rehearse your words so then you can act well. In sales, you need to make sure that you talk to the client and care for them, and you have to have the system in place. Otherwise, don't have the full attention to the person. You're trying to sell them something or trying to remember the product. So I think it's a game changer when you have a clear sales strategy of how to get the credit card details, all the stuff that Impact and yourself teaches. It makes it easier to say, I'm going to spend that amount on leads because I know my conversion rate from the lead and I know my close rate, so I'm happy to put more money on leads. When we work with micro businesses or small businesses, they don't understand how to close. They're thinking, well, I've got these leads in, how am I going to close them? So they're not willing to spend on advertising. So I think, this is a no-brainer. If you don't have a clear sales strategy, they probably need to, pick up the phone to you, mate.
Well, look, from a marketing perspective, that's why I'm really interested. You have an incredibly clever and left field marketing brain. And when it comes down to the conversion, I'm all about making sure those, the call to contact and all that stuff is so we get those conversions. But if the lead actually comes in, and let's say it's a strong offer, like you said before, and it's been well thought out. What I'm finding is, Richard, is when the people come in, the salespeople don't know how to use the call to action to close the sale. So in other words, it might be a terrific offer, but they only know how to close their normal sale. So they become a little bit flustered and a little bit over, let's say, too many words, and bamboozle the person with verbiage, and the opportunity is lost. And that's why I strongly believe a sales and closing strategy needs to be planned, but also rehearsed once you've got that strong offer in your USP out in the marketplace. I'm glad we're on the same page there, because I'm finding a lot of businesses having some success with their lead gen, and also having a strong offer for, let's say, January, February, but the conversion is stilted until they know how to practice and present their prices with the offer. So
well, I think practice is the key. Rehearsal is the key. You're the master of that. And otherwise, you're rehearsing on your clients, and you're going to lose them. They won't be clients, I should say, pre-clients, you know.
That becomes very expensive. You wouldn't want a brain surgeon practicing on their clients, would you?
It does become very expensive. Spot on. It does.
So let's talk about the type of lead.
Yep.
When the lead, there's lots of ways we get leads, isn't there? We get someone that opt-ins that put a email address and also maybe a phone number, which is ideal. Sometimes they pay online, don't they? They say, oh, that's a great offer. And they'll type in there, they'll buy their $79 thing or whatever it may be. It could be for a month here, or a free trial, or a little bit of an extended period for a little bit of a taster, like try before you buy. Now, what do you think is better? Do you think it's a lead that says, I want to have more information, and then you go through your process and you have an offer? Or do you think it's better for them to actually go online and pay and then book to come in, and then have a strong sales strategy to flip when they are coming in? In other words, they pay their $79 when they pop in. It comes in for an appointment, not just to attend or do whatever it is. And then they are sat down with a professional and then given the opportunity to cash in what they've got to buy something which is of higher value. What do you think's better?
Well, I think it comes down to one, what's your service or product? And if it's a service, and if it's a product that's like under a less amount, I think a lot of it can be done online, Steve. But if it's a service, for example, a recurring service, could be a gym membership per se, or a lawyer or an accountant or something like that. It's an ongoing service. And if you're in the service industry, it's generally a one-to-one or one-to-group or team, whatever that may be. I do believe that if it's a higher sale you're going to make, 100%, you need to get the appointment warmed up enough on the phone. It could be warmed up through chat, so Instagram or Facebook or email or text message. You chat to get them to a quick conversation on the phone. Could be, we call it like 10-minute chat, quick 10-minute chat to figure out if we can or cannot help them. So we're auditioning that potential person, and then hopefully we can help them, and then we book them in to come to a consult, a strategy, a first session, but have a conversation that was after. From there, you can then obviously get to the next stage after that, because to get them into the place or the venue or the location, that's all the work. You know, I always put it this way, Steve. The analogy of, if you're looking, in the fitness game, if you're looking for someone to get fit and they've never been fit before, do you know how hard it is to get them into the place? They've got to buy clothes. They've got to put the clothes on. They've got to set their alarm clock. They've got to eat the right food. They've got to go in the car. They've got to drive. They've got to get to the gym. And then if they've never been there before in their life, they'd be scared. So just getting to location is the most important thing. And then from there, you can sell anything to them once you've built that trust. So I definitely been for a service-based industry that's ongoing, 100% move them into a consultation, and then move that. And we used to run a lot of events, Steve, and we do run a lot of events still. And even though events, that's still a hard process. You got to get into that day and that location, that time. So if you can customize it around their time, make it convenient for them, I believe that's always going to be the way and the easy ability, especially with how busy we are in everybody's days. Like, it's just easier to get them into that consultation instead of selling your entire 12-month program online. I mean, has anybody ever bought a house from a real estate agent over Facebook? Probably not. They probably went to the house, they looked at the house, then they transferred. They never transferred over a Facebook link, $500,000 or $1 million for a house.
So if somebody is actually, you use the analogy of a health club, or I know you work with some people in the health industry, allied health services as well. Let's say they've got a low entry program, come in for $100, $200, $48, and the person can type in.
Yeah,
and they buy that. So they've actually paid some money, so they actually are due to have service.
Yeah.
What they do is they turn up and have that service. do you think it's important that when they have that service that they paid for on the first visit, that you sit down and find out what the big picture is and actually give them an opportunity to cash it in before or after the service? Or do you think it's best just to let them use the week or two or whatever it is, or have the service and then follow them up afterwards?
Steve, the amount of times I've talked to a client and I said, what's the process? And they just said, yeah, we get them in. We don't speak to them. They come into their free session. Yeah, hi, bye. I would almost have a heart attack. I'll tell you why, because when you start to run ads and you start to understand how much you pay for a lead into a client, it's like in some cases, it's $30, it's $100, it's $50, it's $200, it's $10 walking in your door. It's almost like saying, I'm going to walk down the street. Here's my wallet. Here's $20, and I'm just going to throw it. I'm going to throw my $10. That's what it's like. So it's like, if you're happy enough to have your $10 note and let it go, or if you're happy to walk past and step on a $10 note in the morning because you think, it's just $10, it's just $20, well, do the option of not speaking to them. But if you want to retain your money and you don't want to lose the $10, $20, $50, $100, I pull out a $100 note, and that's sometimes what a quality lead can cost. Always talk to them. Always have the first session, always book them on, always make sure they feel comfortable, always go through the sales process to make sure that you can turn that $10 into $100,
Absolutely right. Look, we're on the same page here. And look, just recently I've had these businesses calling me and say, gee whiz, our conversion is pretty low. And I said, well, tell me your process. The people coming in, using the product, and then they'd leave without any conversation with the salesperson. I said, gee whiz, get on the phone first, have a conversation. If you can close them over the phone, fine. It's not going to happen. It'll be under 30%, but get them in there, book them in a little bit early, make sure you can have a conversation, because they don't want the offer. I just want to make sure that our people are listening here. Guys, they don't want the offer. They want the opportunity to get what the offer is going to give them. And if it's just a little bit of a touch or feel to start off with, we know they're not going to get the result. So we're all on the same page there. So
yep.
You mentioned something that was very interesting, and it just segues perfectly. With social media, everyone says, oh, gee whiz, I can go on Facebook, I can post on Instagram or LinkedIn. Question is, that free stuff, is it going to work in generating a quality lead, or do we have to pay to play? In other words, do we have to understand a little bit about business manager or getting onto LinkedIn and paying some money to target market to go into the people that will want your process? Or is it okay just to stick it on there and think it's all going to work organically? Is it pay to play, or is it still we're going to get ROI on just posting and hoping?
Sure. I think everything costs. Even if you're going to go organic, meaning free, it's still going to be your time on creating the ads or doing a photo shoot or something like that. So I think let's have three levels. First level is we open up the computer and we go, you know what, we have no leads. Like I used to do back in the day when I was a trainer. I was 18, 19 and no leads. So what I did a flyer drop. And I delivered 2,000 flyers in mailboxes, and all of a sudden I got 2 clients. And after that, I didn't advertise anymore, right? Because I was full. The next level is organic, but you have a plan of when you post and how you post. So it's a bit of a frequency. So if it worked once, let's do it again and again. And the third level then is actually paying to acquire brand new people that they don't know you, you don't know them. So that second level, that organic level, I believe that works really well with people. We're building up a relationship, or we already have a relationship, or in our database, and that works really well. So if you've built up a database, so if you have a database, or you have a Facebook group, or you built up over the years, everybody's built up even a Facebook fan page over the years. We want to maximize that. So to maximize a fan page, you want to run organic content. If you're going to go to that fan page and say, buy one now, get one free every single time, I would say that people get turned away. It's like having junk mail in a letterbox. And so I think organic works. It definitely works. We've got heaps and heaps of business through organic without paying a cent. But when I say we don't pay a cent, I'm creating videos. I've got a video team that creates that. That costs me money. I'm putting it on a plan. I'm getting somebody from our team to schedule in. That costs me money as well. So that's going to cost whatever you look at, or your time is going to cost. The third thing is the pay to play. Yes. If your business is ready to scale and you're doing the organic thing good and you're getting clients and leads from it, I think, yeah, pay to play. Why not? Facebook's one of the best platforms we have to scale. And if it costs too much money, it means then probably your ad is not amazing or your offer is not amazing. And basically, if it's not working, it means that the market is telling you there's something wrong, and that's a good indication because nobody else will tell you that something's wrong. So I think 100% pay to play, but I'm making sure that before you go to pay to play that you have some free, you're putting out a lot of awareness organically. That's what I'm trying to say, and a lot of videos organically, because then when you go to pay to play, it's just not going to be strong enough because everybody else in the marketplace, you don't have a USP offer. If you don't have a unique thing, and if you haven't tested it out and you run your first ad set on Facebook and you say that didn't work, that's because you hadn't tested it out. So pay to play definitely works. 100% works. I think everybody should be doing it. But I think we've got to get away from the first level, which is like, oh, I don't have leads. Let me post and let me get off Facebook and you don't come back for 2 weeks. That's an incorrect method. And I think, to be honest with you, a lot of people are doing that way. A lot of people are still doing that method, and it's inconsistent, doesn't work. So
in summary, before we do pay to play, make sure you got a strong offer. Make sure you got your USPs, do the organic stuff, spend a bit of time doing some videos or get some copy done so you get a little bit of presence out there so you're known. And then once you've actually got a little bit of a following, especially on social media, and then after you've done a little bit of work, maybe over a few months, then start doing some pay to play because you've actually set the foundation. That's great advice, mate, because I know a lot of people say, oh, look, everyone says we've got to pay to play straight from the get-go, but they haven't got any brand awareness. They haven't done any organic stuff. And guess what? They then kill them. They lose their money. And a lot of people do spend a lot of money on Facebook and social media and get little return. So guys. I'll
add one more thing to that, Steve. Just remember the content you post. And when you post content, try to get a rhythm going. So if it's once a week or twice a week, but get the rhythm going. And just think about going deep in the content and create sticky content. So you got to understand what your client needs and what you can give them as an outcome. And that content's got to be so sticky that your client wants to watch that content. If they don't want to watch the content, it means the content's not sticky enough for them to click open and open it. Content works, but you've got to understand what your client is needing at that time. So if you're a lawyer, let's say a divorce lawyer, you need to talk to people who have just been divorced and the issue they're going through and the outcome that you can solve for them. That's going to be interesting with someone who's just going through the divorce at that point. But if they're not going through the divorce, they won't click on it. That's okay. You want to put out enough content once a week, sticky content from all your different problems that eventually someone in your database is going to click and go, yep, that's for me, that's for me, that's for me. So about 300 to 500 words once a week, something of high value would work quite well.
Perfect. Well, that's great advice, guys. Hope you got your trusty pen out and writing that stuff down because that's absolutely gold. Look, to wrap up, I want to go a little bit left field here. Now, over the years, we've had this conversation about SEO. SEO was the big dog many years ago. Then it became, oh, well, we don't need SEO. And now it's reared its head again. And I've been reading a fair bit of stuff and saying, well, gee whiz, we've got to get our keywords and also our key phrases sorted out now because a lot of these voice contraptions like Assistant and Siri and all that sort of stuff in the home is becoming more and more important. So the keywords and having your SEO up to speed to create a quality lead, because someone goes on to Google, they actually want that product or service to say, hey, how do I find a gym, or how do I find a dentist, or where can I get this type of a service? And then they say, well, pops up in their Google, and then they go to the landing page, strong offer, then it goes into the cycle. So how important is getting those keywords and that SEO up to speed these days?
Oh, good question. I think it comes, in a perfect world, yes, there's so many different players to get right. You got to choose, do you want to do Facebook videos, organic blogs? SEO is another one of them. I think SEO has always held a place, especially on Google, especially for like trades and things like that, like a locksmith, a carpenter, all that. I really believe trades is really important for SEO, lawyers, because people are looking that, and they're looking for speed on these things as well, especially like a locksmith, for example. You're looking for speed at that moment, at that time. Funeral parlor, at that moment, at that time. So industries like that are really important to be across AdWords and to be across SEO. Other industries, sometimes I feel that it may not be as important if they've built up a strong brand. I think brand, and going back to our number one question, what's more important, USP or an offer? I think brand supersedes the rankings, because I think there's only even if you get to number one in SEO, and even if you rank for the voice, at the end of the day, there's only going to be one person that they're going to send you to, or two or three, and top three. I've held many number one positions for strong search terms, really strong search terms: removalist, moving, funerals, breast implants, personal training, and they're high search volume words. And at the end of the day, if you're one, you get the searches. But even if you're one now, you've got AdWords on top of that, paid searches, things like that. So I like SEO, but I like SEO when it's brand SEO, Steve, where somebody needs to be typing into their Siri or their Google Alexa to say, I want to find not a gym, but I want to find the name they know. I want to find a vision. I want to find a fitness first. I want to find et cetera, et cetera. So brand SEO is really what we call referral marketing as well. So if you can continue working on your brand, people should be recognizing you from your brand, and your name wants to come up in SEO. And so I know it's a dissection of your word and what you're talking about here, but again, like everything, SEO is going to be competitive like Facebook, but the one thing that you can hold is your brand. And brand is everything. Without brand, we're going to be playing the same game in SEO than we did 10 years ago. I mean, I lost 2 companies because I was number one SEO, and all of a sudden I lost everything because I had 2 brands and I had no idea what I had to do to outrank them. This is kind of where I'm at the moment. I went through a journey of losing $100,000 a month, and I didn't know what to do next. There was nothing else to do at that point. So you just got to remember that if I had a brand, I could get through that. But I went everything on just rankings. So it's the same conversation. It's just you got all your eggs in one basket. Is it important? Yeah, it is important. Keywords are important, but I wouldn't go like bank. I wouldn't put all your chips on SEO, same as I wouldn't put all your chips on Facebook ads, same as I wouldn't put all your chips on offer. I think it's a player that you need to understand and do. But if you've got $2,000 and you're going to put it all in SEO management, I think that's the wrong move.
All right. Well, that's also a nugget, guys. Listen to what Richard was saying there. You can get your keywords sorted out, but have people typing into Google the name of your product or the name of your product in your suburb. So get it out there in the marketplace, get people talking about you. So when they go in, they're just not wanting a plumber or wanting a dentist or wanting a health club or whatever. They want your health club, and then it pops up so they get the phone number. Great stuff, mate. Well, the last thing I want to cover then, and I think you've moved perfectly in there, when it comes down to the rankings on Google, there's a lot of things that take place. You could either have your pay per click. You also have your organic, all of making sure that everything is correctly done on your website, all those sorts of things. But there's a thing, there's AdWords and there's a quality score. The AdWords actually is where you pay per click, and you have let's say a budget. And when it runs out, then someone else will get that word. But also there's a quality score, and a quality score is how many clicks they do on your website. So for instance, if it just goes from, let's say a landing page, and it's just one click, the quality score on your website is actually significantly lower. If they click twice on your website, Google really likes that, and they say, oh, gee whiz, organically, we'll pop them up the top. So do you think it's important to actually have AdWord campaigns and so forth, because the lead becomes more qualified if you've got that, as you said, brand SEO? Do you think because they go to Google and they type in wanting to see it and goes to your landing page, they're more qualified than on social media?
I think what I'm understanding with this question is that if they go to Google, yes, and your quality score, and quality score ranking is make sure that the ad connects with the landing page and it's the same message. If they're different messages, your quality score will go down. That's a great question, Steve. That means then what they've clicked on, your landing page, your website has the same information, you get a higher quality score. If they're clicking on that, yes, they're a much more qualified buyer because they've typed in the name of your brand, they're straight onto it. But at the same time too, on Facebook, we are seeing a higher amount of people going to Facebook for a service now, not just to muck around with their friends and their family. So people are now going into Facebook to search, and there's actually SEO rankings on Facebook as well. So I think to answer your question, yes, Google, I believe, is always more qualified. It's going to cost you more, but the quality's better. Facebook's interruption marketing, and you've got to have a better brand presence over there, where Google, you can hide a little bit behind the rankings. And if you're number one, you can get away with a lot of things. So I don't know if that answers your question, Steve, but yes, I'd be definitely moving into that if you want that higher quality.
So yeah, that's exactly what we were looking for. Because a lot of people actually, as you said earlier, put all their eggs in one basket and say, just do social. And then other people say, oh, no, I'm going to just do AdWords. But I think you've said it perfectly. Do a bit of both, get the branding out there, get your branding SEO. And then if you've got the budget, put a little bit on Facebook, put some stuff on to Google, because the quality score and making sure that it marries means you've got a higher quality lead, and which means hopefully the conversion is higher. So
yes.
It's all about the conversion. I mean, you get 1 million leads and poor quality. And the last question. In this auto-filling world we have, especially on social media, sometimes we have an offer, they click it, and there's an auto-fill. And then we get a lead. Someone does it at 2:30 after a big night out and so forth, and you spend all this time.
Like a messenger fill on Facebook, things like that.
Yeah, it just goes, boop, and then it sends it out automatically. I've been getting the feedback that those types of leads are relatively low quality. So if you're going to do something like that, it's better to have a branded type offer, which is target marketed in Facebook Manager, where you've said this is the type of person, maybe to your friends or to a demographic, instead of just having an auto fill out in the marketplace.
Yeah.
So do you agree that it's better to just have it targeted through Facebook Ad Manager, or having these auto fillers?
Yeah, see, the auto fillers are what we're talking about too, Steve, and some of you may have heard of it, is the messenger ads, where they just Facebook automatically fills it in. Yeah. And I'll give you some real stats, Steve. So we've got a campaign at the moment. It's a right. Yeah. So we've got a campaign at the moment, Steve. I'll give you some real stats. They're a fat freezing company, and they're based in Melbourne, and we're getting leads from about $1 for people filling their details in those auto fills. Pretty cheap leads. We've gone from $3.50 to $1, and all they're doing is they're opting in for information, or it's kind of like a low end kind of offer. And so we generated about 500 leads so far in January. It's halfway through January. Good amount of leads, decent amount of leads. I'm thinking everybody would love 500 leads.
Oh, it'd be outstanding getting 500 leads.
Yeah, and I'll give you some stats on the conversions of that. So I went through the process of what they're actually converting. Now, they don't have a real sales process in place. They do, but they've got messenger, like someone messaging back and that kind of stuff. They don't have a salesperson to make the calls or anything like that. So it's kind of a person on the other line just chatting and getting them through. The outcome of what they're trying to sell is a $750 product. And I said, okay, well, what's your numbers? What's your revenue like? And so we worked out that the percentage to move into that product, not even that, we had a pre-product, a consultation, then that product. The numbers was like 2% off those. And so you can think, okay, I paid $500 for leads. I'm going to get a 1-2 sales maybe kind of thing. And that may get to $750, sure. there's an option there, but at the same time too, the other option is that I could spend the $500 that I just spent, and I could generate myself maybe 10 quality leads, $50, and we might have 6 or 7 people that are really ready to buy, and they're hot to trot, and they understand the brand, and they've bought into it that way.
That's exactly my point, Richard, is because if we do all these lead generations with this $1 stuff, auto respond and so forth, we get a mountain of leads. They're low quality. You might get 1 or 2 leads. But if you spend a bit more money, it's pay to play, and get your branding out there, you're going to get a high quality lead with more conversions. So that's a great analogy. And I just want to finish with that, because a lot of people are almost in dead man's land, just saying, should I get volume? Should I get quality? And so forth. And hopefully they're hearing here is there's a couple of things. In summary, have a strong offer, but have your brand and you have your USPs first. Have a sales strategy, and then make sure that you have a pay-to-play process, but also do your organic first. Do your organic first, make sure you got brand presence, and then pay to play on social. And if you're going to go to Google, it's going to give you higher quality. However, you've got to have a few more things that are married. And the last thing is, well, if you're going to have a quality of 500-600 leads, you got a 1% return, or whatever, if that, you're better off paying more for less leads with a higher conversion. Did I summarize that okay?
Yeah, spot on, Steve. It feels like it's a landmine, but I honestly believe, and I've seen this firsthand, we work with hundreds of businesses, and you can never get beaten on brand. You just can't. You can't get beaten on brand. And if you just think about what you have, what you're wearing right now, this second, what glasses you're wearing, what shoes you wear, what you're eating for dinner tonight, it's all brand. Everything's brand. We've purchased into brand, and we're always in brand. So even if you think you're not being sold to brand, I would highly, highly doubt that in today's world, that you do not have a branded item somewhere in your house, your clothing, what you're wearing, what you're doing, the car you're driving. It's all brands. From the chair you're sitting on, everything's brand. And so if that's not something to tell you, we shop at a certain supermarket because we like the aisles, we like the brand, we like the ad, there's something there that you've been sold into. So
given we just talked about brand, can I know you do for the SAC and also for the Sales Success Club crew, they can jump on to a link that we put in. Can if they did a marketing muscle up, would they be able to have a chat to you about maybe having a chat about their brand, so they get their brand out there, their USPs, and have a chat to you about the offers that they're doing?
Yeah, I think what will be easy to do in 2020, because it's a fresh decade, Steve, let's make it really simple for everybody. And if you're watching this video, literally just put in the comments to say 2020, just 2020, 2020 in the comments. And what I'll do is I'll have myself and my team reach out, and we'll just give you all the details of how to make that happen. We'll have a quick call, sort of see, where your pain points are, where your problems are, and then we can book you in for a longer call if we feel that will fit. And that's complimentary, Steve. So just put in the comments 2020, and I'll know what that means, and then we can move to the next stage.
Terrific. Look, guys, take that offer. Have a think about, how did your brand sit in the marketplace? How does it look on social media? I know that Richard helped me when we actually started digitizing a few years ago, and we changed everything. We upgraded everything, and we really needed to do a quick job. But he took his time. He said, let's just slowly catch you, monkey, and made a big difference. And he works with many of the businesses that we work with, and he changed the brand and actually increased the lead. So take him up on that offer, and have a little bit more of a chin wag about some of the other things. So Richard, thanks so much for your golden nuggets, plural, today. Absolutely outstanding. Thanks, mate. I really appreciate your time.
Thanks, Dave. Appreciate our time here, and hopefully everybody gets value from this. And implementation is the key. Once you implement, we can move to the next steps.
Absolutely. All right, gang, how good was that? It's always good talking to people that knows what they're talking about, and Richard is the master. Marketing. Make sure you put 2020 in the comments, and he'll reach out, have a chin wag with you, and help you. Don't sit passively. Take massive action and make it happen. All right, I'm Dr. J, and I'll see you later. Bye for now.